I want to do this. Some of you may have questions, and I know one of the concerns is when you have a crowded room, everyone can't get their question answered. So members of the public, this is what we want you to do. We have Mr. Beatty over here. Mr. Beatty, while I'm doing my update, if you can step over to the side, take any questions that you may have. Give your questions to Mr. Beatty. Mr. Beatty will then bring those questions, and I will read the question and then give you the answer. And that's for the public, for the general public. Hopefully I'll be able to address a lot of your questions and concerns now, but we want to make sure that all of your questions are being answered, and we're not going to be able to do it in this time frame, but we do want to be able to take information. Now this is what we're also doing as far as public information. We're posting it on our web pages. We are also going out to all our centers. If we have a shelter, we have shelters in Smithfield, we have them here in Bastrop, and throughout. And what we're doing is we're giving updates daily. We're going to send our PIOs, our public information officers, out to those sites to make sure that everyone who has a concern, who may not be able to make it here today, who may not have internet, who may not have televisions because they're out of their houses, but they may be in the shelters, they're getting their information. So, Mr. Beatty, if you could step over there and begin to take those questions. Also,
because it's hard to hear.
Talking about Tahitian and Georgia, please include Pine Forest. We're totally wiped out.
I got you.
Because it's hard to hear in here, I'm going to go outside. I'll be there when he gets done as well. If you've got a question you want to ask right now, I'll be right outside.
Let me give you the updates. This is the updates of what happened. One of the questions was Pine Forest. Newly identified homes that are located, what we're doing is we're getting a list. And we went in and we began to address areas in which we know houses were destroyed. And we're updating that list. And that updated list is going to include residents of Pine Forest, South Tahitian Village, and also Crafts Ferry Road area. And we are posting those newly identified houses that have been destroyed in those areas on the walls outside. So we'll have a list that has all that information posted. Now this is what this means. If you're listed, that means we know that your house has been destroyed. If your address is not on that list, we're still in the process of going through. That doesn't mean that your house hasn't been destroyed, but those are the definite houses that we've identified that have been destroyed. And there's two different processes in which we're going through. Some individuals have asked, what is the difference between the number in which you'll give and say 500 houses that have been identified as destroyed? What we're doing in that process is we're actually going door to door, and we're looking, not door to door, but where we have pads that have been destroyed with our appraisal district and writing down those physical addresses. So when we put those addresses there, we know those houses are being destroyed. Now when we say we've had over 386,000 houses destroyed, that is why we're going, that's called a window shield estimate. We're going out and we're driving by and we're looking and we're counting the houses. But the difference is those addresses that are listed on the window are when we've actually had somebody go to the structure, look at the number that we have on the appraisal district, and it's been identified. And those are the new areas that we've went into. So they're posted on the outside doors. And if you have any additional questions, we'll have someone out there and we'll be able to answer those questions.
One quick clarification, because I didn't make it clear when I said they were working for residents re-entry based on when they let them back in. That's everywhere. That includes Pine Forest everywhere.
Okay. And Mr. Rose says when he's talking about entry, it's everywhere. That includes Pine Forest, all of those areas is included when he's talking about re-entry and getting the power for the residents. Now, one of the questions that we always get, we have individuals come in and say, how many folks do we really have on the ground? People are riding around and they say, wait a minute, I see all these fire trucks. How many do we have? We have a total of 844 personnel that have been working on this fire. And that was last night we had 844 individuals on the ground. On yesterday we had 3 helicopters. We had 143 engines. We had 44 dozers, 10 water tenders. And this was all operating yesterday. So every morning at 8 o'clock, we have that number back there going out and fighting these fires. So when you say what resources are being employed to fight this fire, we have folks from all around the country here helping us to fight the fires. When you see the individuals with the red hats on, they're called the red team. This is a group of individuals that have been sent in for special occasions like this of disaster. I think they've been I was talking to a young lady, she said she's been to 5 this year, but there are a special group of individuals that are called in to work with us as community members to fight this fire. So we're not alone in this process. We went from 0 containment to over 30% containment. The question is always asked, why do you continue to say 30% containment? What happens is, those are the areas that we're going in and making sure that the fire is out. Now, we're still battling. We're still out there trying to make sure that it's not advancing, but it's saying that we have 30% containment. That means that we have that under control, and we're still trying to go out and do more. Because I know you can get frustrated and say, are we still at 30%? No, we're still going out and we're fighting, but that's what we are sure of at that time. So I just wanted our residents to know that, because sometimes this is the 6th day, and we're saying, what kind of work is being done? I'm telling you, behind these doors every morning, you have resources that are working hard to impact and to bring us back to normalcy. And we're continuing to do that. So I applaud all our firemen. I want to say this too. Before all these resources came in, we had local folks, individuals that had lost their houses, that were out there fighting the fire. That means they're lost. They're like everybody else, didn't know what they had at home. But one of the most important things is I want to protect this community. And as I've been going out to the shelters and talking to folks, I've been seeing that type of love. Our pastors are praying for us every day. And I love this. One of the pastors said, beauty for ashes. What is that saying? Out of this, something great is going to come. And the reason something great is going to come out of this is because of who we are as a community. And I'm saying that as your county judge. I've been there with you. I've seen what we're going through, and I applaud the work that you're putting in. I applaud your patience. We will come out of this. We're going to get state resources. We're going to get national resources. But the thing that's going to make us last is how we work with each other, how we support each other, how we love each other through this process. Beauty for ashes. And one of the things that I want to make sure is that we have the resources that are available that are going to bring us back to normalcy. When we can still say, I rode down Highway 71, and we're known as the Lost Pines. When folks think about Bastrop, it's the Lost Pines. It looked totally different. But I want us, in generations to come, when my son Micah begins to grow up, and he's 20-some years old. I don't want to state my age, that's how old I am. But Bastrop is being restored back to the way it was. We're going to work and do that, folks. We have a team that is in place. And I know on the 6th day, folks are getting frustrated. When I walk out, I can see it in their faces. Judge, when are we going to get back in? When are we going to get back in? I'm going to tell you this. My most important thing that I want to do is to make sure that our count does not go above 2 lives lost. So I understand people are going to get frustrated. They may get mad. But the most important thing that we have to do is to save lives. We're going to get back in. We're going to move forward. It's going to be a better time, but work with us through this process.